Hello guys, in this video we look into Kepler's third law of planetary motion. Okay, so before this we had looked into Kepler's. So first law where it state about the shape of the orbit, it is in ellipse. Okay, ellipse. And then the second law. So it talks about the area swept. Okay, law of area. We can see that it is about law of area. Okay, area swept at same time. Okay, same time equals. And then now we will look into the last law or the third law of the planetary motion. Okay, Kepler's third law, planetary motion. So Kepler's third law of planetary motion. So this is the full name of this third law. Okay. So Kepler's third law of planetary motion is simply called as Kepler's law. Okay. So we can call it as Kepler's law. Kepler's law. So all of those law had their own name. The first law we can call it as orbital law. Okay, orbital law. And then second law, area law, law of area. And then the third law, we can simply call it as Kepler's law. Okay, it is Kepler's law. So when someone talk about Kepler's law, then you know that it is the Kepler's third law. Okay, we can simply use Kepler's law. It is a law of harmonies between orbiting planet and the sun. Each planet distance and its orbital period around the sun has a constant ratio. Kepler's third law is a mathematical law. So it is a mathematical law. Okay, mathematical law. So when we talk about mathematical law, that means we will provide you a formula. We need to know a formula relationship. Okay. Of course, the second Kepler's law also come out with mathematical, but due to some reason, okay, because for your level, okay, for your level, you don't need to understand the mathematical form, okay, the mathematical form. Maybe we will look it later in your form 6 or in your matrix, okay, how they come up with this idea, law of area. Ellipse also mathematical, but you don't need to know the the equation of an ellipse, because yes, I know some of you had learned it in your maths or additional maths. Of course, we can use it, but we don't need this one in our physics for your SPM. Okay, we just need to know the shape of the orbit. Okay, so let's look into Kepler's third law. So Kepler's third law, it is more toward mathematical. Mathematical law, that means you need to know a simple relationship, okay, simple equation, and maybe they will involve calculation in this problem. So from the textbook, okay, from the definition, for planetary motion around a fixed center, okay, a fixed center, in this case we have our sun, of course, our sun as a center in our solar system, okay. So around a fixed center, the square of the orbital period, okay, let's take any planet revolving around the sun, and it will have the period. Again, what is period? Period is the time taken to complete one resolution. Okay, one complete circular motion. So it is the period. So the period is directly proportional. So in mathematical form, you can write it. The period is directly proportional. Okay, the square of the orbital period is directly proportional to the cube of its orbital radius. So to the cube power of 3 its orbital radius. So this is the radius r. Okay. So the t square, the period, okay, the time taken to move from A and then back towards A in this path, okay, is directly proportional to the cube of the distance between this planet and the center. Okay, of course it is not applicable only just to Earth and Sun. Any other system, any other objects also we can apply this law. So Kepler found this law work for all planets because they all orbit the same star, okay, which is the Sun. So we can apply on other planet, Earth, Jupiter, Saturn, and other planet around the Sun. If we consider another star system, okay, if we look into another star system, the relationship is still true, but the constant in relationship will be different. Okay, the constant, okay, meaning that the gravitational constant will be different. But still, we can apply this concept. Okay, so how we come up with this idea t square is directly proportional to the r cube? We can prove it by mathematical equation. Okay, from what we had learned before. Okay, we had two kind of equation. Okay, let's look back into our equation. So the first one we have centripetal force. Okay, centripetal force. Centripetal force. So what is the equation for centripetal force? If you still remember, okay, it is F. We can put it F as mv square over r, where v square over r is the uh, radial acceleration. Okay, mv square over r. And then if we try to investigate in terms of gravitational force, so we have another equation, gravitational force. So F equals to gm m, okay, m the first object, and then over r square. Okay, just be careful here. For centripetal force, the r is not squared, but for gravitational force, r is squared. Okay, so we have these two kind of equation. So since a planet is orbiting the sun, okay, we have the sun. Okay, we have the sun. So in this case, let's take our Earth. Okay, revolving around the sun with speed v. With speed v and force of gravity from the sun constantly acting on the planet. So we have force here towards the sun. Therefore, gravitational force is provided by the centripetal force. Okay, so we can conclude that the gravitational force is provided by the centripetal force. So we can equate these two equations. So Fc, let's put here C and this G. So Fc is equals to Fg. Again, gravitational is the cause of the centripetal force. So we can equate this equation. Let's substitute the variables there. So we have mv square over r equals to gm m over r square. So m, the big capital M here, we take it as the mass of the center object, which is the mass of the sun, and small m is the orbiting object, which is the Earth. So and then if we rearrange our equation, okay, we can cancel out r, and then here will become 1 m orbiting mass, we can cancel out. So we will get v square equals to g m over r square. Okay, is it r square? No. Okay, since we already cancel out 1r, so it will be left only 1r. So we have this equation, v square equals to gm over r. So this is a basic equation. Okay, basic equation. Okay, so the linear speed can be deduced by, if we look back into our linear speed, okay, v. Okay, of course we already discussed about this in our chapter before. Okay, in our previous video, where we can relate the speed, again, the speed with the period. How can we relate the speed with the period? So V equals to distance divided by time. Okay, so this distance, let's say this object, the Earth, is moved from A and then on a circular path, okay, back to the same point A. So the path here is the circumference of a circle, and we can take it as 2 pi r. So the distance covered should be 2 pi r, and the time taken is equals to the time taken for one complete circular orbit. So it is equals to the period. So here we can relate the speed with the period. So we have another equation. So when the planets, okay, when the planets makes a full circle around the sun, it distance travel, okay, it distance travel, whereas also known as the perimeter of the orbit 2 pi r, the time taken will be period of orbit t. So let's substitute this v into this equation. Okay, so I just put it up here. Okay, with another color. So we want to put this v into this equation. Let's write the equation first. V square equals to g m over r. So v is equals to 2 pi r divided by t, then square gm over r. Then square the variables there and the constant there. So you will get 4 pi square r square divided by t square equals to g m over r. And then if we rearrange the equation, we will get, okay, let's make t as our subject, or maybe bring r. We try to eliminate the denominator here. So 4 pi square r. So this r we bring upward, it will become r cube, and g m t square. Okay, t bring upward, it will become gmt square. So let's try to make t as our subject. Okay, t as our subject. So rearrange our equation. So before rearrange, we change the position first. 4 pi square r cube. So let's make t as our subject. We will get t square equals to 4 pi square r cube divided by gm. And then we want to look into the relationship between t square and r cube. So take out the r cube. So what is left there? 4 pi square over gm equals to, times r cube. So here you can see, okay, all of this is a constant value, where 4, of course, it is constant. Pi, it has its own number. G is the gravitational constant, so it has own number. And then m is the mass of the center object, which being orbited, okay, which being resolved. So it should be the same mass, okay, same mass. So if we look into this case, so m here is the mass of the sun. So of course the sun will have the same amount of mass. So that's why this value will become constant. Okay, will become constant. Okay. So when we have this kind of equation, t square equals to, so let's substitute this constant with one value, k r cube. So what we get here, t square is directly proportional to r cube, meaning that the period for any object revolving around another object at the center is directly proportional to the cube of the radius. So that is the relationship between the period and the cube. Okay, so that is stated by Kepler's third law, or Kepler's law. Okay, if we look further, by using this relationship. Okay, since we know that t square equals to k. Okay, k, remember k, we already substitute this value for pi square over gm, right? So meaning that it has, of course, you can calculate this number. Okay, it will have the same number. So k r cube. So we try to rearrange t square over r cube equals to k. So what does it mean? If we divide t square with its corresponding r cube, it will give us one constant value, which is equals to k. So that means we can write it as t1 square over r1 cube equals to t2 square r2 cube. Okay, so if we have the sun or any object at the center, and then we have one with radius r1, and we know that the period is t, and then we want to compare with another object revolving around this object, but the radius is different. Okay, radius will be r2. So we can get the value of t here for this second object by using this equation. And we have another object. Let's say there is another object moving at different radius r3. So we can find the value of t3 using, so t3 square divided by r3 cube. Okay, so we can use this proportionality to find the value of period or the radius or the distance between the object. So when our solar system with the sun as central body is concerned, the constant m here, since this is the constant, is mass of, where m is the mass of the sun. Okay, so same case if satellites rotating around Earth. Okay, if the satellite rotating around Earth, let's try to draw another diagram. Okay, so this one is sun. So if satellite, we have a satellite rotating around the Earth. So m here, okay, so the m here in 4 pi square over gm, m here is the mass of Earth. So what you should understand here, okay, for this value 4 pi square divided by g over m, so the m here, the mass here is the mass of the object which is at the center, which is being orbited, which is being resolved at the center. Okay, so we can say that this value is not constant if we refer to another system. Okay, so if you want to compare the Jupiter revolving around the sun with the satellite revolving around the Earth, so we cannot use the same value. Okay, because the mass are different. Okay, if you want to look into this system, so mass is the mass of sun. If you want to investigate into this system, so mass here is the mass of Earth. And if you want to look, of course, if you want to look into another system, another star, another planet, another galaxy, okay, so m should be the mass of the object which is at the center. Okay, so I think that's all for this video. So we already finished the 3 law stated by Kepler in his law of planetary motion. Okay, later we look into a few examples in our live session. So thank you.